KVLT Games presents a fight against the globalist scourge.
Hello, everybody. I am your mortal Afro Josh, and I am joined by Roland of KVLT Games. He is the CEO of KVLT Games and the developer for The Great Rebellion. Thanks for coming on, man. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Quite busy because it's kind of like crunch time at the moment. We want to release the game in December still, preferably before Christmas. Let's see if it will be possible, but we are working towards it.
Oh, okay.
Doing fine. Yeah.
Sounds like the usual stress of game development.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, speaking of which, I got a couple of things I'd like to ask you in regards to your project. First of all, what's your history with game development?
Yeah, right. So I've been interested in game development for a really long time. I've been like a hobbyist game developer since basically when I was a teenager. I did work at one point in a gaming company, also at a gaming company here in Austria. It's just been my passion, you could say, like for my whole life. And I did actually release a game on Steam back in 2016. It's called Atomic Butcher, and I made like a freeware game already back in 2004, like with the same title, like basically the prequel to it. So I actually had released some games in the past also, like as an indie dev basically, and really indie development has always been the thing that interested me most.
Was it something you like at that time for those first few games? Was it all just you by yourself? You didn't have a team?
Pretty much. I mean, the game I made back in 2004, Atomic Butcher, the first one back was still like that was before all the big game engines became popular and so on. So it was a lot of effort, but I did it with a school friend of mine. It was the two of us, and that was basically it. Yeah.
Oh well, if you don't mind me asking, what engine does the Great Rebellion run on? Is it?
We're using Unity. Like I've been using Unity for pretty much everything for like the last I don't know, at this point like 7 or 8 years already.
Okay.
Well, it's good for 2D games basically. Like Unity is like a good mix between 2D and 3D, so it's very good.
I know a lot of games use that, which is quite I guess it's like the go-to engine over Unreal.
It is. It's more lightweight than Unreal. I mean, it definitely has its downsides. You might have heard there was this whole thing about the licensing. The licensing agreement that they just changed and so on. I mean, they kind of backpedaled on it. It's currently not so bad, but the trust is gone, so to say. So I'm also looking at other engines for the future. Godot engine sounds really interesting. It's like an open source game engine.
And then do you consider maybe switching over at once? Because I'm pretty sure you're too far in development to hit the brakes on Unity, so you just want to finish it up and probably.
We are stuck with it. We have to finish it with Unity. Like at this point, it's just not. Can't change engines so late. But yeah, for the future, we really want to take that into consideration and make sure like we can trust the engine, the developers of the engines.
Yeah, that's good. It's unfortunate, but it's a sign of the times.
Yeah, it's true.
But I guess next, what's your inspiration for the Great Rebellion? I think I can guess, but I'd like to, just hear what are the things that happen to kind of put you towards this type of game.
Right. I mean, as I mentioned, I've been interested in game development for a long time. Been like an indie developer. But I also became, over the last decade or so, politically active and politically interested. So at some point it became like kind of natural for me to like make a political game, which was actually the first game I released as KVLT Games together with I made it pretty much by myself together with a friend of mine, Retro Rebel. He's he made the soundtrack. He's like a synthwave artist. So we made Heimat Defender, which was like this kind of like it was an explicitly right-wing patriotic game, whatever you want to call it. and it stirred up quite the controversy. Here in Europe, you could maybe, I mean, kind of like what is currently, you probably have seen the Alex Jones game.
Yeah, I played it.
You played it?
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it looks good. I think it. I really like the character designs. So I haven't played it yet because I have no time.
Yeah.
But basically we did something along those lines, but like already a few years earlier. And yeah, it was a big. I mean, it was a big success on the one hand. On the other hand, it got like censored like really hard. Like we got kicked off of Steam. For instance, and such things. And but I just wanted to keep on doing this because I really liked the fact that it, it seemed to resonate with people. Like we got a lot of positive feedback. Also, we got a lot of hate, obviously, but yeah, that's how it is. And then basically, at first, I just wanted to do like a straight up sequel. The first game, Heimat Defender, was like a relatively simple platformer, like a platforming game, like classic, like Super Mario or Mega Man or something like that.
Yeah,
more like Mega Man actually than Mario. And over time, yeah, it changed over the development. Like it started up as a straight up platformer. Now it's more like it's basically a roguelike, more like a shooter platformer, run and gun type game. Yeah. And so that's the game design wise. The inspiration is more like in these roguelike games that were, still are popular, but were really popular like a few years ago. Stuff like Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon was a big inspiration for it. And thematically, the game, just like our first game, takes place in this dystopian, futuristic world where that's like ruled by like a big globalist corporation that wants to like turn the whole world into like one big like one world government and so on, essentially.
Global
Homo Corporation, exactly. The Corporation for Global Homogenization. Like we put a lot of these like memes also in the game. Yeah, right. So that's the setting, that's the background of the setting. And with the Great Rebellion, it's still a very, very much a political game, but I like it's become over the last, I don't know, year or so, really like for me like something I feel strongly about, that I don't just want to do like these like political gimmick type games anymore. Like I think we need to like evolve beyond that, like it's a good starting point, but you can't just always keep on doing that. It gets stale eventually.
Yeah, because I think just like on one side, the industry has kind of been taken over by this exact same type of political propaganda. And for the most part, when it comes to games, like we just want to have fun and be entertained, a little bit of escapism to, add to our day. And I guess like with games like the Great Rebellion, you think now is like a time, at least for now, not in the long term, but for now, just to kind of balance the axis of power. It's necessary for games like yours to come out and really combat the narrative that's being pushed in the current industry?
Yeah, I think you have to push back a bit, and I think it's a good starting point because sure, I could just like make pure pure escapism. I would like to do that actually, if I'm perfectly honest. At the end of the day, I just want to make games. Yeah. But I feel like it's a tough one, because if you try to run away from it, it will come to you eventually. Like you can't really hide. Like everybody just wants to be left alone and just let me play my games. But that's exactly how things developed into this direction. So I think some pushback is in order, and it's also necessary to let people know that there are people out there who think differently. So you have to be a bit explicit about this, but that doesn't mean you have to just keep on doing the same thing over and over forever.
Just every now and again, just to kind of keep things where they belong, so it doesn't go too far one direction.
Exactly. I think it's exactly like you said.
Well, speaking of which, what were like some of the things that happened initially with your first release? Because I heard you said you had some issue with Steam. They pulled the game. Did they give you a warning, or was it just,
that was a very interesting story. I mean, one of the one of the reasons why the game was so controversial and why there was like this big shitstorm around it was that I put real life activists and real life people, like politically active people in the game that had like cameos and so on, kind of like with the Alex Jones game again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty similar. And that was like really, I don't know, that triggered the authorities here really bad because like Germany is a very special case when it comes to like censorship of media. They have a specific law where it's like stuff doesn't get outright forbidden, but if like an independent gremium decides that something is endangering for the youth or whatever, then it will be quasi-banned. It will be put on a list and you're not allowed to advertise for it anymore. You basically are not allowed to talk about it publicly, so you kill it economically. But it's not forbidden. You can still own it. And our game was put on that list of so-called youth endangering media, which was ridiculous. I mean, it's really ridiculous. Originally, this was intended for like, pornographic stuff or like hardcore violent things.
Yeah.
But it's being used for political censorship at this point. So all of this was going on, and we were in the review process for Steam. Like we were about to have the game hopefully greenlit. We did everything, uploaded everything. They were looking at the game, and at first it all went fine. After some time, we got a message from Steam that they want an H rating of the game due to its content, which I found kind of interesting because the game itself is totally not violent at all. It's as I said, it's like Mega Man or something.
Yeah.
I already released this game, Atomic Butcher, back in 2016 on Steam, which was like, I mean, it was basically a kind of like a humorous, over-the-top splatter.
Yeah, like parody to some degree.
Parody, basically. You were playing this like mutant in like a post-apocalyptic world that just wants to eat everything. And that's the whole game, basically. So it was full of like cartoon violence. They didn't care about that. I didn't have to give an H rating for that. They never asked. But with this game, they wanted to have an H rating. Okay. So we were like, yeah, okay, I guess we have to get one. Costs a bit of money to get one, but yeah, we would have done it. But then suddenly, a few days later, without any explanation, it was just like, we are going to terminate business with you, deleted the developer account, deleted the game from the store, which was already like in this coming soon section. And that was the end of it. We never heard anything from them ever again. So that's my guess what happened actually behind the scenes there.
So I guess you like with the Great Rebellion, you're just not going to deal with that. You're just going to release it directly from your side just to get away from all that. That's not something you have to worry about if you do it that way.
I mean, I would love to be on Steam. Obviously, we would get a bigger reach and everything, but I don't want to deal with that anymore because at the end they're just gonna, who knows? It's unreliable. They might cancel us again at any point. So yeah, we will just sell the game on our website, great-rebellion.com.
Okay, well, I'll do my part to spread it out there because, like I said, I think games like yours need to like have their place in the gaming community because I figured the thing with games is all about creativity. There shouldn't be any cap on what you're able to make, especially if it's not something egregious like like porn or something like that, because like there are plenty of porn games on Steam. It's funny, like they don't have an issue with that, but if you
plenty of very violent games. I mean, Hatred is still on Steam. I mean, and I think it should be, as you said. I think in that regard, I'm really like kind of like a free speech guy. I know there is like this communist game, Tonight We Riot, it's called on Steam, where you basically play communists throwing Molotov cocktails. I mean, whatever. I think it should be on there, But I think my game should be on there too. So that's my take on that.
Well, hopefully things will change. I think with more the success of games like yours and Alex Jones could possibly turn the tide, or maybe it's just good to build an alternative altogether. So I mean,
I think it definitely. I mean, the Alex Jones game is. I mean, it's great because he obviously has a bigger audience, and it's that stuff that just popularizes the idea. It just makes people say, okay, you can also do this. So I hope maybe that it will just create more demand for that, and I think it's ultimately a good thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. But with I guess my next question would be like just your opinion overall. We kind of touched on it, but what's your opinion on the current state of the gaming industry, like as it is right now?
Right. No, yeah, not so good is the short answer. No,
Yeah.
I mean the AAA. I mean there are still some good AAA titles coming out. I guess. I mean, I don't really play that much AAA at the moment. I mean, I did play Cyberpunk 2077. I have to say I liked it after the patches. I played it now in version 2.0 with the newest patch, and I have to say like they really like fixed the game. So kudos to them. I played Doom Eternal. Personally didn't like it that much because I thought the game mechanics were just too much. Like I think it was a bit overblown, but nonetheless, basically a solid game at the end of the day. Like don't see anything wrong with it. Was no woke stuff in it, so that's good. So there's some good stuff. I never really got into like online gaming. I always like kept myself away from it because I knew it would eat way too much time. Like it's like digital crack. So I never really touched that stuff like World of Warcraft back in the day and so on and everything. But so that's it. But there is like so much horrible stuff going on in the AAA like gaming industry, and that, like obviously the woke stuff and all that. But it's not only that; it's also the like all these monetization schemes like battle passes and microtransactions. It's just horrible. Like I grew up in the time you bought your game and you owned it, and that was that.
It was yours. No one could take it away from you unless they literally tried to steal it. But even then, you didn't have to check in online to get it, and you didn't have to download a patch every other day to actually play it.
Also that like it's I don't know, it has just become extremely ruthless money grabbing. It's it's also like very soulless. It has become so soulless because there are these like big titles, big teams. It's all like designed by committee. Everything is outsourced to 5 different other companies, and I miss these old type games that I grew up with. And you can say now that I'm like nostalgic or whatever, but it was games that were made by smaller teams, maybe 10, 20, 30 people max or so, and you could see the handwriting of the people behind the games, and that's what I'm missing. That's what really.
I agree, because I saw your post on Unreal Tournament, and I was like, man, Facing Worlds, I think that was the name of the map. And I played that a whole lot when I was like.
Yeah, you said you played it on the Dreamcast, right? Crazy.
Like, the controls were like very ugly, but back then, since that's all I had, it was normal to me. I'm like, you press Y to go forward. I'm like,
If you're used to it, sure. I mean, I'm sure. I know there are people who are really good at this stuff. I'm just like completely. Whenever I try to play a controller, I play like my mom or something. You said was it like multiplayer? How did that work on the Dreamcast? Because like on the tournament is there multiplayer?
Well, for us it was split screen multiplayer. So
cool.
It was pretty bad. Thinking back on it, but it worked. Like, as far as like what we got it for, because I only played with my cousin. We I'd go over there, it's just me and him. We played the split screen, and that was it. But,
that's also. I mean, of course, like playing games together. That's another aspect that I kind of miss with many of the online games that we have today. That you sit at home alone and you play with people you don't actually know. And I mean, computer games always had this stigma that it's like you're isolated and you become like, I don't know, socially reclusive and so on. I mean, it's true to some extent, but there was also always like a social component to it. I think like I often just played with my friends, and of course the LAN parties where you would drag your computer to a friend's place and play, have some beer and drink and eat pizza and play all night and so on. Like that was something you did with your friends, and I don't know. I also would really like to see more such things coming back.
Yeah, I think there's a high possibility that it could come back, because the online nature and the constant overbearing influence of a lot of these companies makes it kind of impossible to do that now, especially online. Because I think Microsoft they've been going really crazy with the online hate protection campaign. Like the old days of Modern Warfare lobbies are gone now, and it's like, man, that's when they were fun, when people just said what they want, talked all types of shit, and
Yeah,
everyone could
like
have fun.
banter and shit talking each other is like half the fun. Like you can't take that away. That's also like when you're just like sitting at a LAN party next to your homies, you can just insult them and laugh at them when
Yeah,
you kill them in the game and so on,
yeah,
and call them names and whatnot. But you can't, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just fun is not allowed anymore, basically.
yeah. Ironically, when it comes to
Ironically.
gaming, yeah.
Yeah, of all things, yeah.
Hmm. Well, like,
Indeed.
well, one thing that really got me is like I went to your website and I saw there's a whole list of people involved in the development of the Great Rebellion, and I was curious. It's like, how did you go about finding the talent, or getting people on the same page as you to work with you to make something like this?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised about that myself. But I mean, I'm the only. I mean, Cold Games is still more of a loose collective at this point than like I don't know. I guess what you would call a proper gaming company.
Mhm.
I hope this will change after the release of the Great Rebellion. But basically, I'm the only developer that does it like full time, pretty much. The others have like other jobs on the side, and just help as much as they can in their free time. And but yeah, those were just people that basically contacted me over time, because they heard about our first game, because they saw stuff from us on social media.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was actually, like, when I started with the Great Rebellion, it was still pretty much just me and just Retro Rebel and me. But over the course of the development, multiple people contacted us and joined the team, and that also changed the game, of course, over the development, because everybody brought their input into it. And if you have other people to like bounce ideas off, it changes, and it grew a lot during development. We actually never intended the game to become so big, basically, or I didn't intend it in the beginning.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's how it goes. So it was highly the whole development process was highly improvised. There was like a real, like, do it yourself attitude behind it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that sounds pretty good, because I noticed, like, with a lot of projects, when I think the saying is, if you build it, they will come, type of thing. And
It really is kind of like that. Yeah, it has, yeah, I don't know, if you just do something that resonates with people, and if you're actually passionate about it, then people will take notice. I mean, it's not going to be like an overnight, like get rich quick scheme. Definitely
yeah.
not. Like, I'm actually, I could have a regular programming job and would definitely have more money if I did that. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, well, I think it resonates with people.
Well, that's good. It's more like it's built on principle rather than, like you said before, committee. And that's a lot of what games now are missing, the soul. Like, if everyone cared, the project won't look as pretty, but it'll be a real thing, and that will carry a lot more weight.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Well, I got to ask. You seem like an old school gamer. You've been in the gaming trenches for a long time. Do you have a favorite game or game director?
Yeah, that's always a difficult question. I mean, I've been socialized gaming wise mostly in the 90s. I'm definitely a 90s kid here, early 2000s
Yeah.
maybe. I had a phase when I didn't actually really play that many games and didn't care too much about games, like around like the 2010s to like, yeah, in the 2010s.
Mhm.
So that's a bit of a blind spot maybe for me. But yeah, like the classics I grew up with and that I really loved were, I mean, there was, if I have to usually I say Deus Ex if people ask me, like the one title that really is like my favorite game. I think that game was just so revolutionary because it combined like this really deep story, thought provoking,
Mm.
with game mechanics that actually gave you like a lot of choice and created this. I don't know. It was just a really good game, and
Uh,
it captured a certain zeitgeist, I guess, of that time.
mm. Did you like the sequels at all? I think Human Revolution or Mankind Divided.
Yeah, I liked them. I never played Mankind Divided. I played Human Revolution. I liked it. It was definitely a good game, but I think it lacked the depth of the original. It was good, but it wasn't the same. And the second one, like Invisible War, it was obviously a very flawed game, but I liked it. I think it was good actually. Like it was, they should have probably just, I don't know, given it another half a year in development or something. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned earlier crunch. Is crunch more so like I assume with the Great Rebellion, you set your own deadline that you would like to, complete it by. Is that something that I guess it varies from game developer to developer when they want to? Because I understand with the current industry, you set a deadline by the publishers and then the developers, they're a separate entity. But when it's your own project, is that just something you maintain on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I can't completely decide everything on my own because, as I said, I'm basically doing it full time, so I don't really have much other income at the moment. And there are some people who believe in the project and funded us to some extent. I mean, the budget we're working here is nothing compared to what like proper gaming companies have usually, but it can sustain me for a while, and the others, mostly me. And we made we started a crowdfunding campaign in the beginning of the game's development, and so we basically have we have a little budget, and when it runs out, That's when the game has to be done. So I have kind of like an implicit deadline, basically, because of that. Pretty much.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, I don't want to release an unfinished game, and as Gabe Newell recently said, I don't know if you read that. There's it called like how did it go? Like late is just for a short time, but suck is forever.
Yeah.
So before I release an unfinished game, I would somehow find a way to give it another month. But I think we probably can do it in December.
Oh, yeah, because that's definitely important. If a game is bad, it's just bad. Rushed out the oven.
You can only like make one first impression, and if you fuck that up, then that was it. Or in most cases, I don't know. There are some like cases where games redeem themselves, like Cyberpunk, but yeah.
Yeah, there are a few. I would kind of call them exceptions, but I do think that should be a rule that should never be ignored. Like the initial release makes or breaks the life of the game, because even though games like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk did bounce back, they easily couldn't have.
That's the exception, and it's not a given that it works. Yeah, usually it doesn't. No, absolutely. So that's that's my current frame in which I'm working. So it's like I'm not really having like a publisher breathing down my neck, but I have to finish this thing. Yeah.
Oh, I hope it does turn out. I watched your devlog on your channel, and one thing that I'm I guess more interested in is the European historical context behind some of the extra characters and stuff. Because here in America, our education system is terrible. So there's a lot I think I can learn from your game, because it seems like it has genuine, I guess, foresight into like the history of Europe and like characters like Joan of Arc and stuff like that. So did you think that was really important to put it in there just from a educational standpoint, or did you just think it was cool to add?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool to add because I think like it's a cyberpunk setting, but like then we add this kind of like anachronistic, almost like fantasy element where you're like between each mission you come back into like this home base, which is in a sort of enchanted forest, and there are these like spirits of European characters from history or mythology. So I don't know. I thought that was like an interesting thing to do, to combine these two things. And yeah, I'm just interested in European history and myth. It's like we are being called right wingers, and I don't know, whatever, white supremacists, whatever. I don't know everything we're called. But at the end of the day, I just have a love for my culture, and I want to it's an homage to it. That's it. I don't want to put any other cultures down or something. I just want to put this in there because I think it's because I like it. That's it.
As you should. Like, you should always, in my opinion, you should always represent your culture at its best, even if the controversial history of it kind of it doesn't really matter as far as that's concerned to me, because it's important to learn from history. And of course, we're dealing with people who want to erase it completely, which not in favor of. But with games like this, I think it's a really unique way to learn about the true nature of this game's culture, because this game comes from across the pond. I want to learn about it. I don't want to see some haphazard fake rendition of what Europa is supposed to be like. And I think that's exactly what we're fighting against, is the Great Rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like the game is that's a theme of the game. Like, there is at one point you fight like an AI that basically, it's called the fact checker AI, that basically constantly rewrites history in real time. And it makes it so like the names of the countries have been erased like from all databases and so on. They're just called like economic zone such and such anymore, and so on. And it's basically forbidden to call them by their old names and so on. And that's like a theme in the game. And against this, you have like these characters like in this base that you always return as hub level. There's like one character that you can walk up to, and he will just basically, like, you get an upgrade from him, so you have like a reason, a game mechanic reason to go up to him. But he will also always tell you a story about one of the characters. Yeah.
Is that Gus Fox?
No, the Gus Fox guy is the black market dealer that you can buy upgrades and weapons from. He's also kind of a funny character because one of the guys that joined our team is from the UK, and he wrote all the text. And he wrote this character as this like somewhat shady Cockney slang speaking guy. And I also didn't know that much about it. I actually learned about about I don't know, all these Cockney expressions and so on. So due to the fact that we are like this multinational, ironically, I guess, this international team, I actually also learned stuff about other cultures. So that's just interesting, I think, and I want to share this with the players.
Yeah, and I always find that ironic because a lot of these people always push for things like diversity, but not the diversity that they want. Because looking at your team, it's obviously you have.
It's what they were saying.
Yeah, so it's like that's strange. It's like they point the finger, say it's white supremacy. It's like, yeah, but everyone here anyway. Like, it makes no sense. But
it's all just political power at the end of the day. You have a certain faction, or you have like certain people that have interests, and they will just use all these narratives to suppress everything they don't like, and that's it. I have kind of accepted that that this is just the state of things for now, and I try not to get worked up about it too much anymore.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we want to play games and have fun and be entertained, because life is short and it can be stressful. Why not have some fun?
Exactly. No, I also what can I say? Like, sometimes people are like, games are a waste of time and so on. I mean, they can be, I guess. But I have played a lot of games in my life, and I just have to say I don't regret it. I had a lot of fun.
Some of the best memories I've ever had. Like, my favorite console is the Dreamcast. Like, it'll never change. Like, yeah, there's the PC and the Xbox and PlayStation, but the Dreamcast will always have a special place in my heart.
Nice. Yeah, I never had a Dreamcast. I had a PlayStation 1. I had the Sega Mega Drive. I always was like kind of the Sega guy. I didn't have a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it was the same thing with me, because parents started me off with the Sega Genesis. Well, first we had a Nintendo, I think the first NES. Then we went to the Sega Genesis, and I was kind of hooked after Sonic. So I was like, well,
yeah, I was a big like Sonic fan, and I just loved my Mega Drive, and sometimes I was a little bit envious actually about the people with the Super Nintendo, but I would never admit it. I always Super Nintendo is way worse.
Oh yeah, I think the console wars of the past were a lot more interesting. I think now everything has kind of been ironically homogenized. Like
I'm not even entirely sure what the difference is like between. I guess you have some exclusive titles, but
not like
general,
back in the day. Yeah,
it's not like it was back in the day. Like you had Mario and Sonic, and then you had Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo, and
the real version on the Sega console, and then the fake one on Nintendo.
Yeah, right.
Well, I guess like just in your ideal view, what is the future of cult games? Like, how would you like for things to turn out? Like as far as growth and expanding or game projects.
I mean, I really hope that we can become like a proper company that actually also employs people and can pay them salaries and so on. So I would love to eventually become I don't think it's realistic and maybe not even desirable to become like a AAA giant corporation, whatever. But just be like a well-sized team, like 10, 20 team members or something. I don't know, something along that, like scope-wise. And just making indie games, like good indie games, and just being able to sustain itself. I have like a ton of different genres that I would like to explore and games that I would like to make. I think there is a good market also for these like not AAA games, but like mid-size games, or like there is like this new RoboCop game has come out recently. I've seen that looks really cool. I have to say I have to try it, but games in that segment, I think that is maybe something that we could eventually work towards. But it really all, like a lot of it depends on whether the Great Rebellion is successful. Basically, if we can if we can make money with that and have at least a bit of a budget for the next game, and we can like work our way up with each game. So.
Well, I certainly hope so, man. Like I said, like it's games like that, of course, over the past few years that have become more and more attractive to me because of the constant decline of the industry. Because the way I kind of look at it is the future of gaming is indie games. Because the AAA market is oversaturated and a lot of money is burned or wasted pushing everything is like a propaganda tool. But the most fun games I've been playing recently are smaller indie games. I think the last one I had a lot of fun with was Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and
which one?
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Bomb Rush. I don't even. Okay, I don't know that one. Is it what kind of game is it?
Have you heard of Jet Set Radio?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I know
it's like the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio.
Okay, I see. Cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'm also like, it's indie games is basically the thing that interests me most. And yeah, as I said, I'm not that interested in becoming like super big or anything. I just want to have like a stable thing where I can like keep on making those indie games. I've been very much influenced and shaped by. There was this big indie wave in the like between like 2007 or so to like the 2010s, where all these like big indie titles that really created this wave came out, like, I don't know, Super Meat Boy and Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is like an awesome game. I really love that one.
Yeah, I played
that. It's great aesthetics, great soundtrack, of course. And there was this wave of indie games. I think what else, like Braid was a big thing back then, and that really shaped me, and that's really kind of the ideal still, like these types of games and these types of developers and like just the attitude is kind of still what I'm, I guess, trying to emulate.
Well, I mean, like I said, I am rooting for the success of your game. And I can't wait to play it. I'm really looking forward to it.
We're currently like bug fixing and then trying to like build everything together. I can hopefully send you like a beta soon-ish, or if all goes well, the game will be released soon anyway. So yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but
okay, yeah. Let's see how we. But yeah, you know what? I could probably send you something over the next like week or so.
Okay. Would you be fine with? Because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's okay on Twitch, but as far as streaming the game, would you prefer to keep that under wraps until the game released, or?
No, it's fine. You can stream it. I mean, maybe not like the whole game or something, but like the first level or so. So we don't
Okay.
spoiler everything. But
Yeah.
it's fine. Sure.
Oh, awesome. Well, that sounds good to me.
Sure thing.
Oh, one more question, like just out of curiosity, because like the Alex Jones games played in a browser, and I'm sure
Oh,
I'm
is
pretty
it?
sure,
Okay.
yeah, it's like a browser game, very simplistic. But I assume that your game will be a lot more complex in nature. Is it something that, like, as far as releasing it, will it be like a code for download, or because I'm a little lost on how that works?
Yeah, we are currently actually, in addition to the game itself, we are also like building our own shop, like store system.
Mhm.
Currently just for selling this game, but who knows? I mean, that would be its entirely own project, but maybe we can eventually make like a kind of like a platform out of it, something like like Steam, like our own Steam, so to say. But that's still far in the future.
Okay.
So we're building that, and yeah, you will be able to like just pay with credit card, and like we're trying to support as many payment providers as possible. I hope they don't immediately all cancel on us. That's probably a thing that we will have to deal with. That's always a bit of a let's see. I also hope not. But it might happen. But I don't know, if all else fails, we gotta use Bitcoin or something. And then you will get a download link. Basically, it will be like valid for a certain amount of time, and it will be linked to like your email. You can then, like, if you lose it, you can request a new download link and so on. So like there is like going to be like a simple system that it's not like you download it and then if you lose it or something, you have to pay again or so. So I'm trying to work out something here.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds pretty good to me. Well, that's all I got for you. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to have the interview. I know you're pretty busy, and I don't want to keep you too much longer, so I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun, and anytime again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Europe in the year 2085. XX. You will own nothing and be a slave. Happy. People are rising up. Dangers to our democracy. Become the hero they fear. Hacking Globalist Network. Awaken Europa. Unleash humanity. The premier non-conform development team. They don't want you playing this game. Cult Games presents a fight against the globalist scourge.